G'day, my name is Laura Baer and I'm your local Aussie Girl Realtor and I work for Porchlight Real Estate Group. Today I wanted to touch on some questions that I think are so important to ask when you go into a sales office at a new build community. Now, I have so many people who say, I don't need a real estate agent when I'm buying a new build. I have to disagree with that. And the reason is there are so many questions I think need to be asked along the way, and especially before you sign that contract, that most new buyers would have no idea about asking. So I highly encourage you to get a trusted realtor to come with you. It costs you nothing for their expertise, and they can help you and guide you through the entire process. Again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and reach out with any questions. So let's talk about some basic questions you should ask before even maybe going through the model homes. So one question is, how long have you been in business? What's your reputation? What kind of building materials and processes do you use? Now, these are definitely things you could also Google and ask around, but it's also, I think, a worthwhile option to ask the sales rep as well. So another great question to ask is, what is your warranty process? Because without fail, you will move into your new home and there will be things that will come up that are just not working correctly, or they'll break shortly after you move in. So you want to find out, is it an in-house warranty? Is it outsourced? What's the turnaround time between, when you reach out to someone from when you reach out to them to when they come over to actually repair it? So I've had some major warranty issues on my home, and it has been a bit of a nightmare to deal with. So it's definitely something I wish I knew more about prior to moving into a new build. Also talk about what's a financial process. So definitely if you're using the in-house lender too, you want to make sure that you're all aligned along the way on how it all goes. Inspection, when are they going to happen? How often are they going to happen? Do you need to be there? Should you have your realtor there? Should you have an inspector come with you as well? It's well worth having, in my opinion. Especially towards the end, before you close, I would have an inspector go through and check everything. That's what I did, and we definitely found some stuff that we got taken care of before closing that I think had we closed on and then we had to deal with them after would have been a bit of a nightmare. Next would be, what's the timeline for completion and what are the add-ons? So some houses no longer come with air conditioning, and you might miss that when you're going through all of those pages and pages of documents, and then you move in, you're like, cool, wish I had have realized that. Also, a lot of builders now are not including the basement rough-ins for the plumbing for the bathroom. Now, this can be a total pain in the butt when you want to go to complete your basement and those rough-ins aren't there. So these are things you should definitely ask along the way. Radon mitigation. Some put nothing in, some companies test, some don't. Some have a passive system in where you have to add the fan after you close, which really isn't a huge expense. But again, these are questions that should be asked along the way. Fencing, is the exterior fencing provided and you just have to add the side fencing, or do you have to pay for the entire fencing? Is the front yard landscaping included? Is it not? What about backyard landscaping? Sometimes you can buy backyard landscaping as part of the package, or you can negotiate it in. Washer, dryer, fridge, window treatments. These are all huge expenses that some people don't account for after they close until the day of closing. They're like, oh damn, I live in this fishbowl and now I have to put up all these window treatments, and they can be very expensive. They can also be inexpensive if you go to Home Depot, for example. But if you haven't accounted for them and they catch you off guard, it can be, a bit of a punch to the gut for sure. Some more questions to ask would be, what are your customer service policies? What about builder cancellation policies? What if they have to withdraw on this contract? What happens to your earnest money? All that needs to be laid out and discussed before you sign anything. I also encourage you to ask about the builder resolution procedures. What can you do as a buyer to protect yourself if the builder isn't adhering to the contract? Now, this can happen, and I hate it when it does, but you need to know what you can do to protect yourself and your earnest money, because more often than not, you have to put a good chunk of change down and you don't want to lose that. Also, ask about the soil report. So say you go in, you pick a lot, for example, you should be able to ask for the soil report on this, which will tell you how expensive that soil is, what kind of house they can put on it, and what kind of basement they're going to put in. So you don't want to pick, for example, a lot that has very expansive soil, because this could crack your foundation, it could cause it to heave. So if you have the choice of several lots, you probably want to go in and look at that soil report and the water table and see where that's at, and then you can decide from there. Because if that lot is on a high water table, your sump pump is going to be going off constantly, which is annoying, and it also, I feel like, long term could affect the structural integrity of your basement. Another thing to consider is, what will the tax rate be in that community when it's complete? Now you have some communities who aren't incorporated into that metro district, so they have a much lower tax rate than the ones that are in a metro district, for example. What will your HOA be when it's done? Is there one? So for example, where I live, there is no HOA, but we do have a metro tax district. So we have a higher tax rate, but no HOA, which they're saying they might bring one in. So like we get that double whammy, which is not awesome. But anyway, I hope you found some of this helpful. If not, if you want more detail about some of these things that I raised, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to get more into it. I just don't want to make super long videos that just you get bored throughout. Again, my name is Laura, work for Porchlight Real Estate Group, your local Aussie Girl Realtor, work in the state of Colorado, love all things real estate, happy to talk about all things real estate too.